What can you tell us in terms of how far along this has come?
Well, I think the National Insurance Commission is working closely with the Finance Ministry to look at a new bill. This bill, of course, will seek to streamline areas in the industry which we believe need to improve. For example, there's talk about lawyer of the insurance companies. And I believe that it's in the right direction. The need for the new increase is as a result of the fact that we need to write bigger ticket items in the industry. So I believe it's in the right direction. However, it's my view that we need to increase the minimal capital and introduce the risk-based capitalization as well, in order as to ensure that depending on the risk appetite of the insurance company, the capitalization would differ. So it would be in different levels, depending on the risk appetite of the insurance company involved.
Now, but I
think it's in the right direction.
Okay, but for the minimum capital, entry level for new insurance companies and perhaps for those who are already in the industry, what we hear is that the Commission is looking to double this minimum requirement to 30 million Ghanaian cedis. That's about $11.3 million US. So what do you think about that number?
Well, that number, I have had a bigger number because I have received a letter from the Commission indicating, for example, that life insurance companies that are interested in writing annuity products need to capitalize up to 75 million Ghana cedis. So I was under the impression that the amount in terms of minimum capital was actually going up to 50 million Ghana cedis. And then if you wanted to write other products such as the annuity products, then you need additional capital of another 25 million, which will take it up to 75 million. I haven't heard about the 30 million as yet, but rumor has it that it's going up to 50 million for life and non-life.
Okay, now some industry experts tell us that, despite these reforms and what the Ministry of Finance is doing with NIC, penetration as in a percentage of GDP will still remain just under 2% or under 2% even in 2018. Now, obviously, there's that 10% for 2021. For you, in your opinion, what do you think will move the needle?
You know, in the first place, I believe that the computation of penetration in Ghana needs to be looked at again. The reason is that when you go to other countries, when you're measuring insurance penetration, you're actually looking at life insurance, you're looking at non-life insurance, you're looking at health insurance, and in some cases, actually looking at pensions. Interestingly, in this country, the pensions is regulated differently by National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Then health insurance is actually regulated by the National Health Insurance Authority. So, and of course, we also have what we call the compulsory pension regime under SSNIT, that's the Social Security and National Insurance Trust. So, unfortunately, in Ghana, we have a situation where we only measure insurance penetration as a result of the premiums that we are writing for life, non-life, and of course reinsurance. Okay, and I think it's not a fair basis to measure penetration. But that notwithstanding, I'm of the view that the increase or the hope of increasing penetration can come about by us looking at other areas that we have ignored in the past. A typical area is agric insurance. I was privileged to have visited Morocco recently, and I was amazed at how government have managed to use agric insurance to grow the industry. There's a company government set up called NAMDA, I believe, and they've grown agric insurance to the extent that the regulator in Morocco today is very, very proud of how agric insurance has been used as a tool of growing insurance. And I think those are some of the things that we need to look at because there are other key areas of the economy that require insurance. Of course, we need to look at issues of education of the public, and even in some instances, compulsory insurances. I think it's key. That's one of the key areas that would help us grow as an industry. And I believe that there's a lot of room yeah.
Now, Andrew, it's interesting you mentioned in the agri sector, because it's actually part of the four pillars or reforms that the NIC is looking to reform the insurance industry, and it also includes boosting penetration in the informal sector, as you mentioned, such as agri and also microfinance. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the issue of microfinance as a tool also to boost penetration in the industry. Where is Ghana now in terms of its micro insurance?
Well, I'm happy to mention that Ghana incidentally happens to be one of the countries at the forefront of growing its micro insurance sector. In fact, we have been in partnership with a German entity in championing that. And you know, there's an interesting aspect to our economy. The informal sector is much bigger than the formal sector. Insurance in the past has always focused on the formal sector. It is estimated that the informal sector is probably 10 times bigger than the formal sector. So what the insurance companies have done, of course, with the support of the National Insurance Commission, is to come up with products and framework in terms of regulation in order to help the insurance companies go into the informal sector. One key area that has also helped is the use of the telecos, the telecommunications companies, because, you know, the telecos in Ghana have a penetration rate in excess of 100%. In other words, a lot more people in Ghana have phones than the population. So there have been partnerships with some of the telecos in selling insurance through that platform, which I believe has also helped. But there's still a lot of room to grow in that sector.